Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
Sonny encouraged Gio to join him at his Metro Court table, and he asked why he looked so worried. Gio replied, "Dante does not want me as his son." Sonny did not suppose it was true. Sonny was proud of Gio for doing the right thing and stepping forward, and Gio agreed, since he'd roped Rocco into the situation. He abominated that Dante returned to his former opinion of him, but Sonny encouraged him to flash back there were other moving pieces to suppose about. Still, Gio did not suppose Dante was wrong for having these passions. Sonny prompted Gio that Dante would ultimately cool down. Gio allowed. Dante abominated him more for letting his family down than for what passed in the first place. Gio stated that his relationship with Dante started and stopped at him being his natural father. He was concerned he was putting Sonny in the middle of their family drama, but Sonny was happy to be a loving figure to both Dante and Gio. Laura looked at her box in horror, petrified by the sight of a dead body, Dalton's body. She could not believe her eyes, and she felt his neck in the doubtful event of a palpitation. Ultimately, Laura realized her worst fear was a reality, and the professor she had fought with in front of the entire city was boggled, and the body was in the box of her auto. She recalled the fight she had with Dalton and snappily slammed her box shut. Her first instinct was to call Kevin for help, but he was out of the country. Since she could not reach Kevin, her alternate choice was Alexis, but Alexis could not be reached. Eventually, Laura settled on someone the observers could not see, and she told the person she was in trouble and where to find her. Laura returned to her vehicle, frustrated, and slammed her head against the steering wheel as she let loose a flood tide of gashes. Laura noticed she had blood on her eyes, and she frenetically tried to find commodity to clean it up, when someone approached her auto window. Nathan. Laura said she was overwhelmed by everything with Rocco and the election, but the flat tire left her on the side of the road. Nathan offered to look for a spare, and luckily for Laura, Sonny approached them before he could detect the body in the box. Sonny allowed. Laura should be celebrating her palm, but since he was there, he offered to change it for her. She claimed that he did not have to, and Nathan offered to help Sonny, but to Laura's luck, Nathan was called down on police business. After Nathan departed, Sonny turned to Laura and asked, "What are we dealing with then?" Sonny opened the box to see Dalton boggled, and he participated a concerned look with Laura. He contended with her to leave the scene, saying this was the first in a chain of events to come. Britt tried to compose herself after everything she had witnessed and demanded to take her meds, but Jason intruded her at her door. She was blubbing. And he wondered if it was too late to pop in. She asked what was wrong with him, and he stated he'd news about Rocco. Jason calmed her jitters and told her that Rocco was fine, but Rick had a new legal strategy to fight back against Dalton. Britt flashed back to witnessing Dalton being shot to death in front of her at Windmere, knowing he would be an issue presently. Jason explained that Danny and Charlotte were going to turn themselves in and that the lab was in pristine condition when they left. Alexis was on board as well, and she felt like this was Rocco's stylish occasion at Freedom. Britt appreciated Jason filling her in about the rearmost on Rocco, but he'd further questions. He revealed that Danny and Charlotte confessed that the crucial fob came from Britt's bag, and Jason wanted to know why she had access to Dalton's lab. Britt took offense to Jason asking for information, and she indicted him of going there only so he could pump her for further secrets. She ordered Jason to leave her room, but he refused until he revealed his thesis. He put the pieces together that she and Dalton were connected in some capacity. She denied owing him an explanation about anything, but Jason claimed he could help her with whatever trouble she was in. He refused to remain in the dark. Britt promised to tell him if he'd put her first, since her life would be on the line. Still, Jason entered a phone call from Sonny, which Britt labeled as impeccable timing. He demanded Jason to handle commodity for him and promised he would have called if it were not critical. Britt encouraged Jason to go, which led to a painful look between the two. Britt broke down in gashes as she realized how poorly her life was in peril because of her connection to Sidwell. Jason changed the flat tire and drove off in the auto. Meanwhile, Laura fully loses it while speaking to Sonny about the body in her box. she reported, when I saw his body in the box. It's like I got firmed, you know? I should call the police. She admitted she checked his palpitation, which Sonny assured her was not a problem because Dalton's body would vanish ever. He promised her she could handle the situation, and he knew someone was out to get her. The election results did not go in someone's favor, but Laura ultimately realized it was Sidwell who was doing it. Christina and Molly met for drinks, but Christina asked her what kept her unapproachable for so long. She told her family she had other effects going on, but Christina pressed for answers. Before she could answer authentically, Cody showed up, and Christina invited him to join. Cody joined them, and Molly joked about how he saved her father from his extremity in the forest land. They inquired about how Rick was doing since the fire, but she believed he would been a better man since what occurred, and a more present father. Still, Cody refused to accept responsibility for the deliverance, considering he knew the reality of where Rick had really been. Christina spotted Jacinda, so she left Molly and Cody alone at the table. She asked how her family's new gal was, and although she was great, Christina was not doing as well. The damage to Charlie's was far worse than she realized, so there wouldn't be any remodel after all. Christina asked Jacinda to pretend to laugh at a joke, so Molly and Cody could enjoy themselves without her around. Brooklyn broke down a little at the sanitarium, but Michael surfaced with a comforting hand on her shoulder. They were concerned about Ned and Tracy's response to updates on Ned's condition. Brooklyn did not want her grandmother to be an agony for Olivia and terrify the staff. She was spooked for her father's health, but she believed effects would get better. Still, she was devastated by the pressure between Dante and Gio. Although she knew that Gio should come forward, her instincts as a parent disaccorded with her brain. She believed Dante was entitled to his wrathfulness, but she was not okay with the position of enmity he showed Gio. Michael offered sympathy for the situation, indeed if he understood where Dante came from. Brooklyn wished she were in a better place with her son, so she could wrap her arms around him and console him like only a mama could. They clicked for a bit, but Gio showed up seeking an update on his forefather's condition. Michael summoned Gio to the sanitarium, and Brooklyn realized he was trying to grease a connection between the two. Brooklyn asked Gio to stay and hear to what she had to say. She reseated herself from Dante's opinion of him, and she conceded that her son tried to do the right thing. She assured him that she knew his intentions were pure, but he compared the current situation to that when she gave him up for relinquishment. Eventually, Brooklyn had an opening to have a real discussion with Gio, hear to what he'd to say, and help him realize he was not entirely responsible for Rocco's choices. After the sincere discussion concluded, Gio surprised Brooklyn by saying, "Thanks, Mama," and they hugged it out to Michael's satisfaction. Chase dropped by Alexis's office and promised to make it worth her while to stay late. She asked what he'd that was so critical, and he gleefully placarded, "Michael handed the police with a false justification, and I can prove it." He recalled that Jacinda was still working as a companion at the time of the firing, and that she had preliminarily worked as a customer for Ezra. She stopped Chase in his tracks and reminded him that anything told to him by Nina was not believable because she would do anything to keep Willow out of captivity. Chase assured her that he got evidence from Ezra himself that proved he was with Jacinda when Drew was shot. Alexis was pleased Laura beat Ezra in the election, but Chase took his defeat as an opening to dig deeper into his relationship with Jacinda. Alexis still did not understand what Chase was getting at, but he explained that the veritably last time Ezra and Jacinda were intimate was on the same night she was apparently with Michael, while Drew was plugged down. Alexis appreciated everything that Chase did to bolster Willow's case, but she could not use it in court. It was report, so to use it, they'd have to call Jacinda to the stage, and she'd just deny the claims. Still, Chase was adamant that as an operative, he would be suitable to uncover evidence. The bustling, sun-drenched atmosphere of the Metro Court restaurant is a world away from the storm raging inside Geo Falconeri. When Sonny Corinthos, with his innate radar for those in distress, encourages the young man to join him, he is met with a visage of pure dejection. The question is simple: why do you look so upset? The answer is a dagger to the heart of any family: Dante doesn't want me as his son. Sonny, the de facto godfather of the city, immediately refutes this. He operates on a code that values action and accountability, and he is proud of Gio for doing the difficult right thing over the easy wrong one, for stepping forward and confessing his role in the lab break-in, especially since he had roped his younger brother, Rocco, into the mess. Joe's pain, however, is a complex tapestry. He acknowledges the righteousness of his confession but is gutted that it has caused Dante to revert to a previous, less favorable opinion of him, seemingly erasing all their progress. Sonny, the seasoned strategist, encourages Gio to see the bigger picture, to remember the other moving pieces in play. But Joe's adolescent perspective is narrower, focused intensely on the paternal rejection he feels. His despair leads him to a heartbreaking conclusion. He believes Dante hates him more for letting Rocco down than for the original transgression. In his mind, failing as a protector is a greater sin than being a perpetrator. The most devastating insight Gio offers is on the fragile nature of his bond with Dante. He states that their relationship started and stopped at him being his biological father. It is a connection of blood, not of built trust or shared experience, and it feels terrifyingly fragile to him. He even expresses concern that he is putting Sonny in an awkward position, caught in the middle of their family drama. But for Sonny, this is not a burden, it is his purpose. He sees himself as a pillar, a loving figure who can provide stability for both Dante, his longtime friend and ally, and Gio, a young man desperately in need of a steady hand. His encouraging words are a lifeline, an attempt to assure Gio that the storm will pass and that Dante's anger will eventually cool. It is a baptism into the complex realities of family, a first painful lesson in weathering a parent's disappointment. Laura's trunk of horrors, from victory to victim. Meanwhile, Mayor Laura Collins's hard-won victory has curdled into a waking nightmare. The scene is one of grotesque irony. The triumphant new mayor, alone in a quiet spot, pops the trunk of her car, only to be met with the petrifying sight of Professor Henry Dalton's lifeless body. Her initial reaction is a surreal blend of horror and disbelief, her mind refusing to accept the evidence of her eyes. A frantic, instinctual check for a pulse, a futile gesture born of hope against hope, only confirms her worst fear. The man she very publicly fought with is now murdered, and his body has been dumped in the trunk of her car. Panic sets in, a frantic scramble for a lifeline. Her first instinct is her husband, Kevin, the rock of her life, but he is out of the country. Her second, Alexis, her sharp-witted friend and attorney, is also unreachable. Isolated and terrified, she makes a call to an unseen confidant, her voice trembling as she confesses, "I'm in trouble," and reveals her location. The weight of the situation crashes down on her as she rests her head against the steering wheel, unleashing a flood of tears of frustration and fear. In her distress, she notices a smudge of Dalton's blood on her, a damning physical connection to the crime, and frantically tries to wipe it away. Her salvation arrives in the form of Nathan, the ever-dutiful police officer. Laura, now fully in crisis mode, concocts a cover story on the spot, blaming her distress on the stress of the election and Rocco's situation, using a conveniently flat tire as her reason for being stranded. Nathan, ever the gentleman, offers to find her spare, a move that would have ended her life as she knows it. But in a twist of fate, Sonny Corinthos appears. Sonny, noticing the mayor on the side of the road, assumes she should be celebrating. He offers to change the tire, an offer she desperately tries to refuse. As Nathan is called away on police business, the scene is set for a very different kind of conversation. Once they are alone, Sonny cuts through the pretense. His question is not about the tire, but about the truth. What are we dealing with here? He opens the trunk, and in that shared, silent look of horror with Laura, a new, deadly compact is formed. Sonny's response is immediate and decisive. He pleads with her to leave the scene, understanding instantly that this is not a random crime but the first in a chain of events designed to destroy her. He assures her that Dalton's body will disappear forever, a promise that crosses a moral line but one he makes without hesitation to protect her. He knows someone is targeting her, and Laura, connecting the dots, realizes the architect of her nightmare is the man she just defeated, Jen Sidwell. The angry threats of the political arena have been made terrifyingly real. Britt and Jason, a dance of secrets and trust. Across town, Britt is grappling with a different kind of terror. Having witnessed Dalton's cold-blooded murder at Windmere, she is barely holding herself together. Her first priority is her meds, a euphemism for the substance she uses to numb her paralyzing fear. Her fragile composure is shattered by a knock at her door from Jason Morgan. Jason, ever direct, is there with news about Rocco, quickly calming her by assuring her the boy is fine. He explains Rick's new legal strategy, a plan Britt knows is moot because she flashed back to the chilling memory of Dalton being shot, knowing the professor would never be a problem for anyone again. But Jason has deeper questions. He reveals that the children confessed the key fob to Dalton's lab came from Britt's purse, and he wants to know why she had access. Britt, feeling cornered and betrayed, lashes out. She accuses Jason of using Rocco as a pretext to pump her for more secrets. She orders him to leave, but Jason is an immovable force. He refuses to go, revealing his hypothesis. He has pieced together that she and Dalton were connected. Britt's denials are fierce, she owes him no explanation. But Jason's insistence is not born of mere curiosity, it is an offer. I can help you with whatever trouble you're in, he vows, refusing to remain in the dark. This is the critical moment for Britt, a choice between solitary desperation and dangerous trust. She makes him a promise, she will tell him everything, but only if he will put her first, because her life would be on the line. It is a plea for absolute loyalty. However, in a cruel twist of fate, Sonny's impeccable timing intervenes with an urgent call, pulling Jason away. The look they share is one of profound pain and missed opportunity. As Jason leaves, Britt breaks down, fully realizing the mortal danger her association with Sidwell has placed her in. The encouraging words Jason offered are now out of reach, leaving her alone with the angry threats that surround Windmere. Fractured and mending bonds across the city. As these central crises boil, the rest of Port Charles continues to live, love, and fracture. Christina, Molly, and Cody. A casual drink between sisters Christina and Molly is interrupted by Cody Bell. Their banter about Cody rescuing Rick Lansing from his crisis in the woods is laced with dramatic irony, as Cody knows the true, dark location where Rick was actually held. Christina, spotting Jacinda, leaves Molly and Cody alone, orchestrating a moment for them while she confides in Jacinda about the devastating news that Charlie's pub is beyond repair, a dream demolished. Brooke Lynn and Gio. A mother's embrace. At the hospital, Brooke Lynn Quartermain's fear for her father, Ned, is compounded by the animosity between Dante and their son, Gio. She confesses to Michael Corinthos the internal conflict tearing her apart. Her brain knows Gio did the right thing by confessing, but her parental instinct conflicts, understanding Dante's protective anger over Rocco. Michael, acting as a quiet catalyst, summons Gio to the hospital, creating an opportunity for a connection Brooke Lynn craves. What follows is a masterclass in maternal grace. Brooke Lynn deliberately distances herself from Dante's opinion, speaking to Gio solely as his mother. She acknowledges his pure intentions and validates his pain. This opens the door for Gio to compare this rejection to the one he felt when she gave him up for adoption, a profound and painful parallel. For the first time, they have a real, heartfelt conversation where Brooke Lynn listens and helps him see he is not solely responsible for Rocco's choices. The culmination of this emotional baptism is a moment of healing so powerful it leaves Michael satisfied. Joe's simple, sincere, "Thanks, Mom," followed by a reconciling hug. Chase and Alexis, uncovering the truth. In a late-night meeting at her office, Detective Harrison Chase arrives with a bombshell for Alexis Davis. He gleefully proclaims he can prove Michael provided the police with a false alibi. He lays out his case. Jacinda was still working as an escort and her last client before Michael was none other than Ezra Boyle. He has confirmation from Ezra himself that he was with Jacinda the very night Drew was shot, the same night she claimed to be with Michael. Alexis, ever the lawyer, immediately sees the legal hurdles. It's hearsay, without Jacinda's testimony on the stand, which she would simply deny. It's unusable. She tries to dismiss it, warning that Nina's influence may have tainted the information. But Chase, the dogged detective, is undeterred. He sees the crack in the foundation and is determined to widen it, to find the tangible proof that will not only free Willow but expose a conspiracy at the highest levels of power. His encouraging words are a declaration of war on the lies that have imprisoned an innocent woman. A city forged in fire. Port Charles is enduring a collective baptism. Laura Collins is being baptized in the fire of a political frame job, her moral compass shattered by the need to survive. Brit is submerged in the icy waters of fear and secrecy, grappling with whether to trust a lone night. Gio is weathering the scorching pain of paternal rejection, finding solace only in a mother's unwavering love. And Chase is plunging into the murky depths of the truth, determined to drag it into the light.